Cassandra Lewis, and I'm honored to be a recipient of the 2021 Individual Artist Fellowship in the established category for playwriting, generously awarded by the Delaware Division of the Arts. I'm going to read an excerpt from a solo performance piece I'm currently developing called Making It, which could be described as buyer and seller meets Get on Your Knees. It's a coming-of-age comedy based on my experience trying to make it as a professional actor, and explores various jobs I had that were kind of bizarre, like working as a personal assistant for a Juilliard-trained movie star out in the New Mexico desert. Here's an excerpt from Making It. Before I landed the job working for the snake-obsessed movie star, I had always wanted to be an actor. I'd been in plenty of school plays. I was Adelaide and Cinderella, but my first paid job as an actor was when I was 14. At the time, there weren't many paying gigs where I could practice being in the moment and character immersion. A friend of mine who started smoking cigarettes when she was still in the single digits introduced me to her aunt. Mrs. A owned the local party supply store. She wore sweatpants every day and was quick to laugh, though her laugh usually ended up in a sickly coughing fit. She hired me to attract customers by waving at passing cars and pedestrians while dressed in various costumes. Most actors never dream of such range. I was Sesame Street's Ernie, Jason from the Power Rangers, Donatello of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, an oversized ladybug, the Easter Bunny, Clifford the Red Dog, and Barney, apparently the most hated purple dinosaur in the world. School had recently let out for the summer, and the Northern Virginia swampy heat was exacerbated inside the rubber and fur costumes. But it didn't get to me because I was living the life of a paid actor. Plus, Mrs. A always had cups of lemonade waiting for me. Inside, the store looked like a celebration. Balloons of every color, cards and signs written in capital letters and upbeat exclamations. Upstairs, being surrounded by racks of costumes was like being backstage. Mrs. A had acquired the Barney costume months prior to my employment, but no one had rented it, and each time she nominated it for that day's character, I would suggest another. Until finally she said, "Honey, even great actors are faced with challenging roles sometimes." Well, I was too naive to see she had successfully played my ego against me, a lesson I still have yet to learn. So with gusto, I climbed into that oversized purple costume, and even though I could barely see through the mesh of Barney's mouth, I marched outside. But before I even had time to sweat, a Trans Am halted in front of me. The driver, a middle-aged man wearing a short-sleeved business shirt and tie, flipped me off and called me a very bad word. I stepped back and I stopped waving. For a moment, I thought he was going to get out of his car and try to kidnap me. The cars behind him honked their horns, and he restarted the ignition and tore away, but the noise kept up after he was gone. The cars were honking at me. Actual grown-ups were making rude gestures and yelling profanities. What was I doing wrong? Was I not a convincing Barney? What was this character to them? I heard them before I saw them. Barney's mesh mouth hole doesn't allow much in the way of peripheral vision. I could hear the charmingly shrill voices of children, so I wobbled around to face them. But when they finally came into view, I realized these were not the adoring toddlers I was hoping to greet. These were big kids, wearing smiles not of warmth, but pure malice. A pack of 10-year-old boys, armed with sticks, charged towards me. One yelled, "Die, Barney, die!" And from a passing car, I heard an adult voice egg them on. "Yeah, get him." My run was more like a manic waddle, but I moved as fast as I could within the layers of padding. I could hear a rock or something hard ricochet off the sidewalk behind me. Before I reached the door, Mrs. A opened it and stepped outside. I ran past her and dove behind the counter. She told the boys to get back. And when she came back inside, she laughed so hard she could barely talk. Her voice was a strained whisper when she said, "We were waiting to see how long you'd last out there," and then started up with the laughter all over again. That was my last day at the party supply store, though not quite my last as a professional actor. Thanks.